Upon learning that the escaped Ginny is on Manhattan Island, Negan instructs Marshal of New Babylon Pearlie Armstrong to escort her back to the bricks. "I can't protect you and help Maggie. There was a plan," Negan scolds. "She and I will come here, get Herschel, and you will stay with her people, where you are safe. That was the whole point, damn it. To keep you safe. Negan can't go with her, and Jeannie can't stay with him. I'm not who you think I am," he tells her. She finally spoke, for the first time since her father's death a few months ago. "I want you to." But before she can say another word, Negan does the only thing he can do to make her leave. "I killed your father," he tells her. "I'm not wanted for robbing a wagon train. I killed 5 people. And your father was one of them. That's why I tracked you to the farm. Why I let you go with me, because I knew you didn't have anyone. And you're just a debt that I had to pay. That's it." Ginny leaves without saying another word, and Negan sheds a tear. Later, Maggie and Negan inspect the arena where Krat founded his new shelter. Negan is confident that he will be able to negotiate with the former savior, who worships him. The dysfunctional duo takes to the streets and heads towards a building with black smoke billowing over it. The one from which smoke has been pouring out at the same time every morning and evening since Maggie and Negan arrived on the island. He asks Maggie what she thinks Ginny wanted to tell him. But Maggie is a bad liar, and Negan doesn't believe her arguments that she was trying to talk herself out of trouble. Maggie and Negan exchange glances. In the blink of an eye, Maggie and Negan both rush at her knife. He hits her against the wall, knocks off the weapon and throws her to the ground. Negan takes off, jumps over the railing and walks away along the beam. Maggie gives chase, trying not to run into a horde of walkers waiting for her downstairs. Negan tries to break out of the fight, but she beats him off with a knife. He overpowers the attacker and almost knocks her off the platform into the crowd of undead below. Negan screams for her to stop, but Maggie stabs him in the shoulder with her knife. The brawl ends with Negan putting a knife to her throat and ordering her to retreat. He realized that Maggie had lied about the circumstances of Herschel's abduction. The Croat did not steal their grain and did not extort the harvest. Horvath took her son because he wanted Maggie to bring Negan to him. He wanted me. And for what? Who knows? But whatever this crazy son of a bitch wants to do to me, I'm definitely not going to like it. You and I both know that, Negan tells her. The shittiest thing, Maggie, is that we could have done it. We could have saved Herschel. Because you and I are a damn cool team together. But you know that, don't you? Maybe there's a part of you that always wanted it to end this way. The thing is, Maggie, no matter what excuses I give you and how many apologies I make, you can't get over it. And it shouldn't. Before Negan can say another word about Glenn, they are found by Barassi Horvata. Holding Maggie's knife to Negan's throat, Horvath smiles. It turns out that the Croat returned to the Savior's shelter and found it abandoned, and after several months of searching on the mainland, he learned the widow's story from the former Savior. After learning about Maggie's history with Negan, vulnerabilities that can be exploited, according to Horvath, he realized that the abduction of Maggie's son is the push she needs to find Negan and bring him to New York. In the bank building, Maggie leads Negan inside like a man to the gallows, holding a knife to his throat. The Barazzis lead them to the vault. Just keep an eye on Ginny, okay? A repentant Negan asks Maggie. That's all I'm asking. The door opens and Herschel appears in it. He is alive, there is hatred and anger in his eyes. Negan takes Maggie's hand, still clutching the knife, and lowers it. He accepts his fate and puts himself in the hands of fate. The exchange takes place at the moment when Herschel goes to Maggie, and Negan goes to the Croat. Good to see you, baby, says Negan to Herschel, who quickly finds himself in his mother's arms. Back in New Babylon, Armstrong tells his director that he tracked the fugitive Negan to New York. He tried to escape, and Armstrong shot him. Negan is dead. It's a pity, she wanted Negan to be alive, to be executed and hanged, to be put on public display and make a statement. She unobtrusively reminds Armstrong that they followed his family, Marjorie, Bea and Desi, while he was away, protecting their political body. She reminds him that ethanol is made from corn, which occupies thousands of acres of fields. That's why I want you, Marshal, to tell me your story again. And this time I want you to tell me all about methane. In New York, Maggie and Herschel look at Liberty Island. Their conversation is laconic. At home, all we do is wait for the next trouble to happen, the teenager grumbles. If anything, I feel safer there. Maggie doesn't know what to say to that. He finds the baseball cap that Negan gave Maggie to give to Herschel, and sarcastically writes that it is a souvenir of the abduction. Finally, Herschel diffuses the situation. It's like you're obsessed with Negan. On what he did. Bring him back, Herschel tells Mom. Maggie objects that she came to New York for him, not for Negan. I'm here, but you can't see me, he replies. It's like you've been looking over my shoulder all your life, watching him, waiting for him, but you never see me. Maggie is crying. In the city, the Croat transports Negan in an ambulance and recalls how he handled the river people as an actor on stage with all the swagger of a rock star. But what is a rock star without a microphone? So Lucille showed up, Horvath says of Negan's barbed wire covered vampire bat. Then you turned around and offered her to me. I didn't get it. I've just arrived at the shelter. I was nobody. I was broken. But you saw something in me, not what I was, but what I could become. He worries about the wonderful brotherhood that they had in the shelter. The Croat tells his idol that he should not have disobeyed Negan's orders and tortured the girl to death. I became a threat that had to be dealt with, he understands. I promise this will never happen again. In Bricks, Maggie checks on Ginny by slipping into the room to return her stuffed dinosaur, and slipping back out without saying a word. In Herschel's room, she apologizes to her son. For a long time, most of my life, I felt that the world continues to take away. I think at some point it seemed to me that if I fought with all my might, I could get everything back. At least a small piece, she admits. But that doesn't happen, because in the end you just lose what you have. And I don't want to do that anymore. I do not know how, but this story with Negan, I'm going to finish it. So that I can let it go. In New York, Horvath takes Negan to a lady. My battles with the tribe, the rats I had to exterminate, were training for the coming war. The lady says that when we get full control of the island, a clash of civilization will be inevitable. And when I told her about all the good things you've done, about the people you've saved and protected, she said you were the missing piece. He is like a child, happy that Mom and Dad got together. The lady, delighted that a rock star was sitting in front of her, waved him away. I heard about your speech at the bank. Taunts, jokes are an additional, but absolutely necessary pinch of cruelty, she says of his bloody knock-knock joke. Shock and awe and all that. Bravo. The lady hands Negan an Armstrong Marshall badge. She explains that the new Babylonian Federation will come for their natural resource, methane, which the Croats' shelter produces from corpses. The island needs leadership. Now more than ever, she says. Someone confident, fearless, charismatic, with a special, let's say, political talent. After all, what is politics if not execution? The tribe was destroyed, but the settlements remained as far as Harlem. The lady hands Negan the keys to the kingdom in the literal sense of the word. If we can unite them under a single rule, we will be indomitable. And it can all be yours again. But first she has to make sure that Negan, the one he used to be. Negan opens the box in front of him. Inside, the finger. Back in the Bricks, Herschel is without shoes and a little finger on his foot. My former guest and I talked a lot. He told me a story about a man who killed a yogi father, not only in front of his mother, but also his unborn child in her stomach, says the lady. And I felt something in this story that he could not feel himself. That the murderer of his father may feel remorse, responsibility for the boy whose family he destroyed. Maggie makes up Herschel's bed and finds his drawings. New York, a bank vault, a woman Maggie doesn't recognize. It's a lady. Of course, he only told me about it when he felt safe with me, she explains to Negan. And here you are, coming all this way to save him. As you know, I finally let him go in exchange for you. But I kept a piece of him. And I can always come back for a new one. Negan sips his drink in silence. Let it be for a long time, she tells him. We have a lot to discuss. A lot needs to be planned. The screen is bifurcated. Maggie and Negan's faces become one.